fairies and princesses, then you've come to the right place. Welcome to Disney Coast to Coast.
Hey folks, and welcome to Disney Coast to Coast, the ultimate unofficial Disney fan podcast. I'm Jeff DePaoli.
And I'm PatrickzFilms.
And, do we have some Disney news to talk about this week? Few things happened. A few things happened. In fact, it's so big that we're going to make this entire episode the official Lauren Houseman super exciting Disney news segment.
Woo!
Which, of course, means
one thing
that a little something needs to happen before we can get going.
Oh, man.
This week, Patrick's going to do the honors.
Are you ready for this?
Okay. And officially, the Lauren Houseman super exciting Disney news. And confetti. There we go. And all of our neighbors think that we shot somebody now. That was
My
nice.
ears hurt.
I know, but it happens. And here we go. So if you didn't know and you've been living under a rock, this past week was 24-hour Disney Day here at Disneyland Resort as well as at the Magic Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And we did 24 hours in the park, which is insane.
And I feel like it was a little bit more special over in Disneyland because of the whole Diamond celebration starting, but it was definitely 24 hours.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome, gotta say. And so let's just start at the beginning. It opened at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I was there around 4 a.m.
Me too.
It was crazy.
I stood in a... It wasn't I didn't wait a long time, but it was a long line for lockers.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
The interesting thing to me when I entered the park was the fact that the longest line seemed to be into the Emporium for 60th anniversary merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I saw that line and I got scared. I was like, oh no, because people were lining up since 10 p.m. the night before.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, I really didn't think I'd have to get there that early. And then I was like, oh, that's just a line for merch? No, I'm good. Heading to Main Street. And Main Street was mobbed.
Yeah.
And the pre-show stuff was really... Had it been a normal 24-hour day, I don't know if I would have shown up that early. It was because it was the 60th. They did have giveaways, which you had to be there by like midnight in order to get the free mouse ears they were giving. So didn't get that.
Nope.
I'm okay with that. Not sleeping outside at 10 p.m., especially since there was a chance of rain. I was like, no. So... any case, I was there for the opening, and then immediately, which was fun. It was just nothing.
They did like just a firework countdown, and I was like,
5 minutes early, by the way.
Everyone was like packed into Main Street. I like stood way back by like Lincoln, and I was like, I'm fine. I'll get there eventually.
I was closer up by the magic shop, so it was cool. There was a DJ and stuff, but the presentation wasn't anything spectacular.
It seemed, funny enough, exactly like the start of any Disney marathon you go to.
Okay.
Because they'll have like the one guy commentating, and as you like walk by, they're like, oh, hey, you. And it's like, it looked exactly like a marathon start.
My most emotional moment for the day, and this was surprising because I expected to be more affected later with the bigger things, but was after the countdown, like just the cast members lining Main Street, like waving with their Mickey ears, and I like started like choking up, and I was like, "Oh God, what a loser!"
I got so many high fives.
Yeah, so many Mickey high fives, totally. And then headed to the Matterhorn, which was newly reopened for the 60th anniversary, with our new Yeti inside there. What'd you think?
Cool. I was really the Yeti was really cool, but I really loved the effect on the Frozen. The Frozen, there's like an ice block kind of thing, and you can see a projection of the Yeti like kind of like banging against the glass.
It's where the snowfall used to be, and that's the best part. When you're going by the animatronic, it's very fast, really fast, and it was cool. It's a nice update. It's still a very jerky ride. I still call it Whiplash. But it was fun.
I'm glad it's back open for sure.
Yeah, it's a cool little update to the attraction, and because that Yeti was really kind of cheesy before. But it was fun to get to do that. What else happened? Okay, so 60th anniversary castle. You've heard me talk about it on the show in the past about how I thought it was starting to look super cheesy. I'm so happy to say, apparently the Imagineers felt the same way, because the things that I hated, they've removed and changed. And I loved that. Like, for so many reasons, not only because I didn't like the way it looked, but because of the fact that they were willing to make that change.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of companies would have been like, no, this is what we designed.
did it already.
This is what we budgeted for. Like, we're going to have these giant tacky plastic diamonds, and that's it for a year and a half or whatever. They removed them. And I was so happy about that. Like, the castle really does look beautiful now. I'm happy with it.
And especially the lighting design they put on at night.
Yeah.
Great.
And there's even... I could be completely crazy saying this, but I felt like the castle looked slightly taller than normal. I don't know why. Just when I walked in that morning and saw it at 4 a.m., I was like, I felt like I could see it better than I normally do from the other end of Main Street. I don't know. This is not factual, but I felt like, I don't know if one of the little tiers on the top was just slightly higher. I'm not sure.
Maybe it's just more sparkly so you can see it.
Quite possibly. That could be it.
Yeah.
But it's something made it look grander than it has been in the past. So that was pretty cool. And all day long, let me just say, the best thing to do on those days is have meal reservations, because the longest lines, by far,
Our food.
were the food lines.
Yeah.
And I'm so happy because I was with some people who reserved every single meal for the day. And we're like, great. Like, and we got our fast passes to all the nighttime spectaculars and everything. So it was pretty cool. But
where'd you eat?
I ate at, is it Cafe Orleans, I believe his name. And then they had reservations for Blue Bayou. I didn't go to Blue Bayou. I actually went and got to paint the night seats while they went to Blue Bayou. But because they were at Blue Bayou, we had Fantasmic fast passes for later.
There you go.
And then we had like a 1 a.m. Ariel's Grotto reservation. So we were well fed for the day, that's for sure. And it was a lot of fun. And yeah, but the lines for the food were crazy.
I waited... I waited about 30 minutes for Hungry Bear.
Oh God.
And I did get a 60th frozen honey lemon thing that they were doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool. I really I think the basis of food, I did a lot of quick service for the all the 60th treats they were having for that 24-hour day. Pulled pork cone over in Carsland.
They're gonna have that year round.
I know, but it was great. I had it not only 24-hour day, but I had it the next day as well.
Nice.
They actually started. Funny enough, food was so wanted or needed. Everyone wanted these treats that they actually started running out of a lot of things. I know the cookie ice cream sandwiches were gone by midnight. Actually 4 a.m. we went back to the Cozy Cone. They ran out of cones.
I'm telling you, it was
They
crazy.
started taking cups, throwing whatever you wanted, the chili, the pulled pork, and just giving you a side of bread.
Nice.
So hopefully next time they'll stock up on more food. But things are going crazy. Merch, food, everything.
So speaking of the insanity of the food and everything, let's just talk about the insanity of the day in general before we get to the big nighttime spectaculars. Okay, both parks hit capacity.
Yes.
Now, I don't think they actually hit capacity. I think they decided let's let more. Either that or Disney's version of capacity is not the legal version, because when I think capacity, I think rubbing up against people all day long, not being able to move. I never at any point felt that, except for opening on Main Street.
Exactly.
So yes, the parks were crowded. I don't think I have a particularly high tolerance for large crowds, and at no point was I like, this is unbearable.
Yeah, exactly.
The food lines were insane, but even the waits for rides weren't all that terribly long. But the parks hit capacity. At some point, this was later in the evening, they basically said nobody else allowed into Disneyland.
Yeah.
And
it was, they started, I think the first time they stopped was around 4 p.m. for Disneyland, because unless you had a receipt proving that you bought something in Disneyland, you weren't getting in.
Yeah. And so that made a lot of people angry. There were people showing up. There were people stuck at security gates. Parking lots were full. No, and this was all parking lots full, nobody else allowed in. It was kind of like opening day of Disneyland is what it felt like. I was like, what is going on here? This is insanity. And, obviously I get it. It was a 24-hour day. It was the 60th anniversary. the problem really came later in the night when people were going. So I went over to Disney California Adventure after I saw, what was it? It was, I had the 1 a.m. reservation at Ariel's Grotto. So I had to be there at 1 a.m. So, and that was fine. I was like, okay, I'm leaving Disneyland for the night. I've been here a great majority of the day anyway. I have no problem with that. So I go over to DCA, mobbed.
Yeah, I saw
mobbed.
pictures.
And the weird thing was Disneyland wasn't mobbed at that
not
point.
at all.
And so, but they were still not allowing people in Disneyland. So, like, the public was angry. There were all these photos going off on Twitter of, like, the empty Disneyland. And so it became this huge mess that unfortunately wasn't dealt with the best way.
Which was completely surprising to me because I stayed in Disneyland that whole night, unless I went to DCA around 4 a.m. when it started transferring back over. But like I felt like I was in this little bubble because everyone was like so mad, and I was like, "What is everyone mad about?"
I was
like,
completely unaware until much later.
I was like, "What is happening?" And then like I went on Twitter and there's people like #capacity and like pirates had like no weight and it was, I think, personally, there was a 1 a.m. paint the night. So if they would have let a massive crowd from DCA into the front gates at that 1 a.m., their Main Street would be completely chaotic because there'd be nowhere to go because of all the parade routes would be blocked.
Sure, but the park was empty before 1 a.m. They could have let people back in. It was not dealt with well, and it was upsetting a lot of people. We were in, so like we weren't affected, and like you said, I really didn't know about it until much later. But the crowds, I mean, photos of the Esplanade between the two parks were insane. Like the Esplanade was at capacity, and then beyond security check-in, like through downtown Disney, it was nuts.
Meanwhile, I walked on the Big Thunder at 2 a.m.
Exactly.
and Indy, and then when they started letting DCA over, you could definitely tell because I walked into Indy and came out and it was 45, and I was like, "Oh, going to DCA."
Yeah, it was not handled the greatest, unfortunately. But for those of us who were in there,
it worked out pretty well.
Sorry. And I hope for those of you who couldn't, be there, you were able to live stream the new stuff that was in the park, which was pretty cool of them. I wish they had live streamed it for the first time that night as opposed to during press nights. I had been avoiding social media for days because I'm like, I just want to experience this for the first time. On Friday during 24-hour day. I'm like, I'm going to be there 24 hours. I need some new stuff to do, please. Yeah. So that's where my mentality was. But in any case, anything else during the daytime that you want to talk about?
No, I mean, Thor and Captain America are back.
Where were they?
They are right across from, they have a little like Avengers kind of stand-up background that they're across from Interventions. And they were there after 24-hour day as well. So it looks like they're back for meet and greets.
Cool. That's good to know.
Yeah.
So let's get to the big stuff. And let's start with, first was Paint the Night.
Yes.
What did you think? I had fantastic seats.
I skipped the first parade at 8:50. I saw the 1 a.m. one. I love this parade.
Do you?
I love this parade.
I enjoy this parade. Now, I think in the same realm is you got Main Street Electrical Parade, Spectro Magic, Paint the Night. I still think I'm a Spectro Magic guy.
Paint the Night.
Mostly because of the musical score of Spectro Magic. I love it. I loved Paint the Night. Don't get me wrong. It's fantastic. These floats are absolutely beautiful. Did you notice the segment with like those giant puppets of the genie and then Lumiere and I think Tigger? Pretty sure, I could be wrong about this, but they look very, very, very similar to the puppets that were used when World of Color opened as like the pre-show to keep the crowd sane. Okay. They had like a pre-show with giant puppets like that. I don't know if they're the same ones or not, but they were definitely like very, very similar. So I thought that was funny. And do you have a favorite float in that parade?
I have a lot of favorite things in this parade. I've already seen it 5 times, so nice. I think definitely one of my favorite sections is, surprisingly, because it's not even my favorite movie, is the Cars dancers.
Really?
I think the costumes and the way that they can kind of move and you don't see them, and then when their costumes light up, they're like in a different position. So very like hip-hoppy cool. But also the first time I saw this parade, there's one thing that made me gasp, and that was Rapunzel's hair. Because nowhere did I expect for a wig to light up, let alone Rapunzel's hair. And it makes perfect sense because that's what her hair does in the movie. Mm-hmm. So when like Rapunzel came and I just saw her hair light up, I was like, no way.
I really liked the Frozen float.
Mm-hmm. It's massive.
It's huge. It's beautiful. Some of the musical choices was weird. Like they had a little bit of In Summer in the music, which I thought was a little strange. And I loved the Sorcerer Mickey float.
Yeah.
I thought that was great. And of course, Belle. I mean, they're all great.
They're all good.
They're all great floats. It's bright. It's super bright. I know that they're not even making the show as bright as they could. They're like lessening the volume of light. I'd be curious to see those things like fully lit. I just want to blind the night. There should be a blind the night.
And if there's one thing I can just keep staring at, it's the Mack truck.
Really?
Because that thing, you can get like hypnotized by it.
These the I know what you mean, the lights on the side, that they're very optical illusion stuff going on. And I love like the way that on the Mickey float the twisting lights is so weird. It's very cool. And I didn't see the live stream at all. I don't know what the video quality was like, but I hope you could kind of get an idea of how bright and cool and really massive these floats are. I don't know, but I have a feeling these might be the biggest floats ever to go down Main Street at Disneyland. They're pretty huge. So it was awesome.
I loved it.
Paint the night. And then I saw the Disneyland Forever fireworks. Which location were you at?
I've seen it on Main Street with the buildings, and then I've seen it in front of the castle.
Okay, so I was in front of the castle. And what did you think of Disneyland Forever?
I like it a lot. I still think it's fairly short.
Yeah, it's shorter than Remember Dream Comes True. For sure. That used to be a super long show, but even that got short.
This parade, okay, so Disneyland Forever fireworks. The fireworks are not the best fireworks. They're not like spectacular fireworks. However, it's compensated by the use of hundreds of other effects throughout the show that we've never seen before. So it's more like it's an immersive experience rather than like a fireworks show. But I love the song. I love that they added like a Lion King section. I don't think I've ever seen a fireworks show with like a Lion King section.
Yeah.
So I like it. I like the change for it.
Yeah, you mentioned there's a lot of stuff going on other than fireworks, and kind of to a point I felt too much. I mean, obviously they want this to be a repeat show. As you know, Disneyland's mostly locals, so I get that. But there was so much going on. Like, I probably saw 50% of the fireworks because and I kept turning around to see what was going on Main Street. I definitely wanted to be near the castle in Matterhorn, and that was my thing. So I was, and that was cool. Let's see, the most interesting segments was the Finding Nemo segment, which it's interesting because, fireworks are always choreographed to music. And when you think Finding Nemo, there's not really musical numbers other than Finding Nemo the musical, which Disneyland doesn't really seem to honor at all. But there's a flying Nemo, very much like the Dumbo we had in Magical. So Nemo comes out flying. And I think the coolest part is that they turned the Matterhorn into volcano Wanahakalugi, Mount Wanahakalugi. And so like they project the lava flowing down and there's steam coming out of the top. That was probably the coolest. I really liked that. And overall, it was a massive fireworks show. I do feel like, since the 60th, I feel like was a huge celebration of Walt and the park in general. I feel like Remember Dreams Come True does a better job celebrating the park than the current show does. So that I love Remember Dreams Come True. Obviously, they have changed things. I get it. I don't love it as much as Remember Dreams Come True. The projection stuff is interesting. I'm obviously going to keep going and check it out from all the different areas, which is exciting. But I also think that like none of the new music, although I liked a lot of it, I wasn't singing any of it in my head the next morning. It's going to be like more of a repeat, and then it'll get stuck in your head type of thing. Whereas I feel like in the past, it's been like, oh my God, that little tune that I just can't get out of my head. It's fantastic. So yeah, it's a great show. It's a massive show. It's massive.
So much to look at.
So much to look at. You said you were Main Street and then the castle. Okay. So that is happening nightly now. I think every night, or is it doing just every night through the summer, and then it'll become just weekends, I'm sure. But that is a huge show you should check out. And
And then over at DCA, You saw the 3 a.m.
World of Color. Yeah.
I completely skipped World of Color that day.
Yeah.
I stayed in Disneyland. However,
you've seen World of Color.
I've seen the new World of Color Celebrate on a preview day. But what did you think of it?
Really mixed feelings. Really, really, really mixed feelings.
I honestly like the old show better.
I agree. That even includes the Brave section. Here's my problem. I don't think the show needed a host. I don't think the show needed to be hosted by Neil Patrick Harris. I don't think we needed projections of Neil Patrick Harris. I think it could have been just his voice if we really needed to go that way. I don't think Neil Patrick Harris needed to be singing a song in it. That bothered me quite a bit. And I kind of couldn't get over that. So there was that. So he's the host. Then there's a great Mickey segment. Love the Mickey stuff. Then some of it felt like a promotional tool to me, especially when like there's a whole Star Wars segment, which what I will say for the new World of Color is the new effects are fantastic.
They're really cool.
The flame ball or lightsaber flame that they create for Star Wars, I actually literally went, whoa! Like I was like, oh my god, if these tanks of gas blow up at some point, we're screwed. Like DCA is gone, as well as all of its gas. And so that was awesome. And then they have these smoke bomb things that go up during Frozen that are fantastic.
I ended up standing right in front of one, so I jumped about 10 feet when they went off.
Those are fantastic. Those are effects that had never been used in the show before. That's what I appreciated. I thought the new effects were used well. But, like, the Star Wars segment felt like I was watching a commercial, especially when it ends on Harrison Ford. And then, like, during the finale, they like do a flash of Marvel stuff. And you're like, okay, what are you just reminding us that you own Marvel?
Yep.
So, but then there was the whole, we're celebrating Walt. So there's Walt projections, which are great. And there's, like, video of the rides and stuff. The thing was, those segments felt more appropriate for Disneyland Park. Yeah. I was like, I felt like this show is more celebrating Disneyland than the fireworks are. So that was a little interesting. What else did I feel? Well, what did you feel?
Completely the same. Like, I thought it was, like, I would have loved if Neil Patrick Harris could have done the intro, the outro, I would have been fine.
But no video.
Yeah,
we didn't need video.
I would have been fine with video even if it was just intro and outro, but he is like spread throughout the whole show. Yeah. Even like in the park segments, he's like in video, like riding the ride and like.
And here's the thing, like, I get that he's a Disney fan, but what does he have to do with the company? That's what I don't get, is like, why is he now the spokesperson for the Walt Disney Company, which I feel like he's becoming.
And so, the one moment that really like made me cringe is there's one section where he like talks to Walt Disney.
Yes.
And it's just like, oh.
So, Walt, what do you know?
Like, and then they cut a segment of Walt, like, pretending, like, to answer Neil Patrick Harris. And I was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
They don't need to talk to each other.
Another new effect that they have that I like, but I don't like the way it's done, is the projection on the Mickey on Mickey's Fun Wheel, which is great because it's at a height where everybody can see it, and that's fantastic. The weird thing is it's
the actual screen.
It's a screen that like needs to be put up into place. The thing that I guess one of the problems I have with World of Color in general is the fact that the effects aren't hidden. So like Fantasmic, throughout the day, you're looking at Rivers of America. At nighttime, it becomes something you're like, oh my God, where did all of this stuff come from? Whereas World of Color, I always feel like I don't know why those fountains are up out of the water for a majority of the day, which I'm sure there's a reason for it. I just wish that they weren't. I wish it was something where, like, 5 minutes before the show started, these fountains come up and we don't see them all day. And then to add on top of that, now we have like this scrim being lifted into place in front of Mickey hours before World of Color. During the show, it looks fantastic. It just doesn't look great during the hours before. The other thing that drives me nuts, Patrick, what drives me most crazy about World of Color in general?
Brave?
Quotes. I've always hated the fact that World of Color starts with a quote projected. Now there's like multiple quotes in the show, and people can't read them. Like, that's the problem. People cannot read projected quotes. It's difficult from a lot of locations looking at the water, and that drives me crazy. So it's a great show. Look, if you've never seen World of Color, any version of it, and you go to this, you'll love it. It's fantastic. It's not my favorite World of Color. It's probably my least favorite World of Color.
Mm-hmm.
They do some nice work with the LEDs on Paradise Pier or on California Screamin' that they integrate, so that's good stuff. It's a great show. It's just, there are things I wouldn't have done.
I'd love to see the old show come back with these new effects.
Yeah, agreed. Minus Brave. And the thing to keep in mind is stay beyond the show, because there are 2 songs. It's kind of like the end of a Marvel movie. There's like 2 songs after the show ends with effects going off and stuff. So stick around for that. Well, it's funny because, like I said, I was expecting to be very emotional this day, like between those 3 shows and it being, the start of the 60th. I really wasn't. And I was with a couple of folks who were on a 3-week Disney vacation, traveling from England. They had done 2 weeks in Florida. Now, this was their week here, and that was their last day in a Disney park. And at the end, I was like, that was okay. And I look over, and they're like sobbing. And then they're like, well, you would feel differently if it were like the last day of your Disney vacation. I'm like, fair enough. Yeah. I know I'm going to come back and see this a billion times. So it affected me less than it probably would most people. But that was World of Color. Mm-hmm. Anything else go on during 60s?
Yeah, not only did we get those 3 new experiences, but we had a return experience. The Mad Tea Party is back over at DCA. And while I didn't experience it on the 24-hour day, I still experienced it over the past weekend. And while I was never like a huge fan of Mad Tea Party, I'm a fan of the Diamond Mad Tea Party. For the past 2 nights after 24-hour day, I've gone and they've updated it a lot, and I feel like it's a lot more fun. New sets. They actually, at the end, very last set, they do a Walt Disney tribute, and they actually like do a rock version of Dreams Come True, or When You Wish Upon a Star. Aww. And like they bring out this little castle, and then they project like on the screens of like Walt's opening speech, and it's like, oh, it's getting real emotional at the Mad Tea Party. Yeah. So definitely, if you've enjoyed Mad Tea Party before, definitely check out the Diamond version, because I definitely think they've upped the ante over there.
Is that only at the end of the night, the castle thing?
I believe they do it. I believe they have 4 sets, and they do it on the 2nd and 4th one.
Okay. What was I going to say about Mad Tea Party? I can't remember. Oh. But in any case, yeah, it was. Yeah. I didn't spend a ton of time there. I walked through it, and it seemed, it's the Mad Tea Party. Freeze the Night is gone. I'm excited it's back because I know there were so many diehard fans for that. But another kind of cool thing, and I don't know when this went in exactly. You wrote Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Opening doors.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you've ridden Indiana Jones before, you know that there are 3 doors that you could go through, each bringing you to a different experience in the first room. Mm-hmm. And when the ride first opened, these doors used to shift back and forth. Now, the reality is your vehicle's always driving through the same room, but the doors would shift to make it look like you were going through a different one. For years, those doors have not moved. Now they're using one door, but projecting things on it to make it look like 3 different options again. And it's pretty cool, the map projection they do. Oh, I remember what I was going to say, because you were talking about projecting on the castle. Now I'm talking about projecting on the door. I think it's funny because these days, map projection is used so often that I feel like, like how when we ride some of the older rides, we're like, oh my God, this black light use is like so overused. It's in everything. I have a feeling in about a decade or so, we're going to be like, God, this map projection is so overused. It's ridiculous. But
we'll see.
It was done very well. It's nice to have the story again of there's 3 different.
I was super surprised. Like I said, I didn't ride it till like 3 a.m. that night, and we like turned the corner. I was like, "Whoa, when did this happen?"
Well, it was funny because I had heard somebody talking about it, and I was like, it was somebody not a local, and I was like, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. And then I wrote it later in the day. I was like, oh my God, what was that? Like, I had heard no announcements about this. I'm assuming it happened only a few days before. So that was pretty cool. The other thing I have to mention is they have been talking about new musical performances going on around the park. So the Five and Dime has a new set, and the Dapper Dans have some new songs. And Mickey and the Newsboys as well. Did you see Mickey and the Newsboys?
I did.
It's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Oh, no.
I love the Newsboys. I love the Newsboys. This new segment, they've written like kind of a rap for Mickey with the lyrics, if you can dream it, you can do it, which is a big Walt Disney quote, of course. I hated it so much. The only good thing is that Minnie comes out during it. And that's
briefly.
Great. But it's kind of like she comes out and she's like, oh, this song is terrible, and runs away. Like, that's what it felt like to me. It was so jarring and so out of place in my mind. I hated it.
I thought it was a fun change. Although with that new song, they can cut a lot. Seize the Day. They do like the last verse of Seize the Day.
Yeah, which, come on, it's the Newsboys. Please, I want more Seize the Day.
But I thought it was fun.
I did not.
Fun change. I didn't see the new Five and Dime. I did see the Dapper Dans perform their new song at 5 a.m.
Crazy. It was nuts. Have you heard anything about what went on over at the Magic Kingdom? I was so busy. I didn't even check Twitter.
They didn't hit capacity. They had a bunch of Disney Channel stars.
Yeah. What I think this means is that on July 17th here at Disneyland, be prepared for insane crowds if it's anything like 24 Hour Day was. It was nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So, folks, I guess that's our review of 24 Hour Day here at Disneyland, the beginning of the Disneyland 60th celebration. And, of course, I know all of you couldn't make it, but I got some stuff here from the 60th or from 24 Hour Day. We've got, what do we have? We have the newspaper from Disney California Adventure, the Buena Vista Bugle, announcing 24 Hour Day. We've also got the Inside Out buttons they were giving away, and oh, look, confetti as well. And our maps from Disneyland and Disney California Adventure, also with the one-day schedules, which is pretty cool. Normally it's like a week long. They say just May 22nd. And so let's give them away, shall we? What we're going to do is, if you'd like to win these, you can comment below on YouTube and let us know which of the 3 nighttime spectaculars you most want to see or enjoy the most if you've seen it. And so that would be Paint the Night or Disneyland Forever Fireworks or World of Color Celebrate. Let us know there. Another way to enter is to sign up for our e-note, which you can do at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. So definitely sign up.
Fun stuff.
Fun giveaways. Yay! But that brings us to trivia time. Yay! You want to hit me?
Sure. This one's kind of, maybe you'll know it, maybe you won't know it.
Okay.
But
B.
Yes, you're correct.
Good.
I got to talk with the show director of Paint the Night, and do you know how many lights are in this parade?
How many LED? Well, I know it's 99% LED lights. I know that there's Rapunzel lantern that isn't LED, and then I think like Tinkerbell's wand is not LED as well, something like that. 1.5 million.
That's exactly correct.
Boom.
1.5 million. And speaking of Tinkerbell's wand, you mentioned it. Do you know what's special about it?
It's not an LED. No, what?
Do you know why it's not?
No.
It is the original
Oh,
Main Street Electrical Parade wand.
that's cool.
Yep.
That's cool. I do wish, so the beginning starts with a dun 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 that you're used to from the Main Street Electrical Parade. I kind of wish it went like dun 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 Paint the Night. Like, that would have been awesome. That would have been so cool. I would have loved it. It would have been amazing. I got a trivia for you.
Yes.
We have spoken about in previous episodes about how they're redoing the kind of cool displays that they have in the windows of the Emporium. I was expecting all of them to have opened.
They weren't.
On 24 Hour Day. They weren't. Do you know which one? They opened one of them, and apparently they're going to open them, throughout the 60th anniversary. So, like, over a year period, I think. Do you know which one opened?
I do, because I watched it. Peter Pan.
Peter Pan. Yep, Peter Pan is the one that opened. It's pretty cool. I think it's definitely more detailed than the previous windows. Like, you're in the nursery, and then, like, that completely transitions, disappears into them flying to Neverland and stuff. So it's pretty cool, and I'm excited to see the rest. But I'm a little surprised that
They weren't all done.
not only that they weren't all done, but if they're really going to take this time and spread it out over, like, a year period, the windows are literally just blue curtains right now. So that means we're going to be seeing blue curtains for a long period of time. I'm surprised they didn't just leave the old ones in until they got to a new one. So that's a little weird to me. I don't know if that was by choice or if something came along where they couldn't finish in time.
Yeah.
But overall, the 60th anniversary has begun at Disneyland Resort. It's pretty huge. There's diamonds everywhere. It's a lot of fun stuff to do. If you're thinking about getting an annual pass, I'd say this is the year to do it.
It is.
And I think that's going to do it for us this week.
Yeah.
Cool. So till next time, guys, check out everything at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. Follow us on
Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, our Tumblr, blog.
Tumblr and blog are the same every week.
I like saying both.
iTunes, SoundCloud, all that stuff. Everything's at DisneyCoastToCoast.com. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Disney Coast to Coast. Have a magical day.
Yeah, it's almost here. It's almost here.
What is it? I couldn't imagine.
But we've seen it already. Tomorrowland.
Oh.
Tomorrowland.